I
for
I want
now.
to I want to pose this because Tommy brought up a very good point that we can look back at the film and really see that Patrick Mahomes has simply at times been missing a wide open Travis Kelce. Now
Yeah.
we can also look at that film and see that Travis Kelce has been doubled, he's been tripled. Defenses are throwing different looks at Travis Kelce to kind of mitigate that and leave. And honestly, leaving Rashee Rice wide open within the first 5 yards is not a good look to be able to get Travis Kelce the ball because sometimes it takes him a little bit longer to get open. He is a tight end. He's a little bit on the slower side when we're talking about skill positions. But one of the things that I've been seeing is up until this point, Patrick Mahomes has been averaging about more 280 plus yards per game for his career each season. In the last 2 years, this year and last year, he has averaged just over 200 yards per game. Let me ask you guys what the differences in those years are.
Isaiah
Prior to
Pacheco.
this, to an extent, sure, but who was the offensive coordinator before last year?
Oh, our buddy down at UCLA.
Our buddy Eric Bieniemy,
Yep.
and before him was Doug Peterson was there. Um,
Was he
for
really?
Matt
Patrick
Nagy
Mahomes.
was there before him.
Matt Nagy was with Alex Smith. Matt Nagy had not been with Patrick Mahomes um,
His
as
rookie
a
year.
starter, as a
Okay.
starter, as
Oh,
a
okay.
starter. Matt Nagy left, went to the Bears. Now he's come back. So it's Matt Nagy this year. It was Matt Nagy last year. Before that, it was majority Eric Bieniemy and I think it was Doug Peterson. Correct? You can correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember off the top of my head. Um, but I think it primarily was Eric Bieniemy. So between the two,
Easy.
he had a ton of yards with a lot of wide open receivers, and even in down years, was still averaging almost, if not more than 300 yards per game. Then we go to Matt Nagy, and it's 200, if not almost less. Can we say that this Matt Nagy offense last year is a sample, and now this year is a sample with underperforming wide receivers last year? Yes, but now a full wide receiver room with tons of skill. Could it potentially be that it is a Matt Nagy issue? We saw how that Bears offense wildly underperformed as well.
I think it has way more to do with the what you know what Mel Kiper asked to ban the too high safety look.
Hmm.
Pat has had his issues with that throughout his career. He had a really stunted season. What was it, 2019 or 2020? I think he picked up an injury too. So he didn't play all 17 games,
The
but
the dislocated knee against the Broncos, is that what we're talking about?
maybe. But we just have a different scheme right now, and I think it has way more to do with the way defenses are playing Pat. We can't rip the ball down the field as much as we want to, and we're just having to learn to play a different style. And we even with Pacheco out, signing Kareem Hunt and the way P Ryan and Carson Steele have been running the ball, like we have a running game that we can rely on. Pat doesn't have to do it all by himself, and we've been saying this almost every fucking show. But I don't know. I don't know if we can blame Nagy for a lack of numbers, but there's definitely something different this year. Even compared to last year, there's something different. And if I don't see Travis Kelce get another 100-yard game, I'm not going to be that upset as long as we keep winning. So I mean that's just how it is as a Chiefs fan.
Well, that's the thing, what you said at the very end. It doesn't matter. You're still winning. Who cares if Patrick Mahomes has 80 less yards on average over the last year or what the fuck ever? Like, you're still winning games. It doesn't, I think I said it on Monday, like there's 1,000 ways, there's a million ways to win a game, you know? And if it's Patrick Mahomes throwing for 200 yards and your running back, whoever it may be, in recent memory, Pacheco, but now it's going to have to be someone else. If it's them and or someone else, combining for 150 yards, more, 175, like then that's what it is. But I don't think Matt Nagy's to blame too. I think because at the end of the day, it's Andy Reid. Andy Reid, he's the guy on offense. Like,
I
yes,
don't think
there's an
Andy's calling
offensive
the
coordinator
plays.
who gives Andy Reid all the flowers. Who gives him the flowers all the time? The fucking broadcasters do. So from a perspective as just like someone who just watches the game, this is Andy Reid. This is like the offensive coordinator is obviously important, but well, Andy Reid's an offensive minded coach here.
What
Come
I
on.
have
I don't.
surmised that
Andy Reid is playing this game on an expert level, having Matt Nagy as his offensive coordinator. That's what he's doing. That's all it is.
and I truly believe that Andy Reid is more on the creative side and installing plays
Correct.
rather than calling plays in the middle of a game. He
He's
can
the
help
head
with the
coach.
script.
We can.
If the running game's gonna work, he's gonna tell Matt Nagy to run the fucking football.
I mean, yeah, but
Yeah, he's the
he
head
has,
coach.
he has
When
way
we're-
more. He has way more input as far as like the preparation and the script goes, rather than in the game calling the plays.
You mean Matt Nagy or Andy Reid?
Andy Reid has more of pre-game, but we're talking about install through the week. So we're talking about install and scripting the first X amount of plays, usually probably about 15
Yeah,
or
that's
so.
what a head coach does.
But when we're talking about in-game adjustments, we're talking about, okay, we've gone through our scripted plays. Now we're on play 16 through play 45, whatever it may be. It is Matt Nagy calling these plays. You are correct. If the run game is working, Andy Reid may go, hey, let's run it a little bit more. Guess who's still calling the plays and saying this is what we're doing? It's Matt Nagy. Who was it before Matt Nagy? It was Eric Bieniemy. We can't just sit here. There are too many fans over the last few years with Eric Bieniemy going, okay, if we're calling bad plays and we're having a bad play game, then it's Eric Bieniemy's fault. And if we're having a great game because the scheme is correct, then it's Andy Reid. Andy Reid may be the head coach. Yes. Is he sitting there calling the plays? No. Does he have a call sheet? Yes. And so he knows what's coming up and can help out when needed in specific situations. Like if he is saying we're going for it on fourth down, I guarantee you, Andy Reid is calling the fourth down play. But if we're first through third down, it is not Andy Reid calling the play. I can guarantee it. I would put every ounce of money plus that I have on it, that it is not Andy Reid calling the play.
I completely disagree. I'm not saying that Matt Nagy's not doing shit, but I just really don't think like it's fucking Andy Reid, dude. It's Andy Reid.
And if that was the case, there'd be no reason to have Matt Nagy or anybody else be the offensive coordinator.
Oh,
They're
stop!
just-
Come on, there's always an
you'd be
offensive
wasting money.
coordinator. Fuck off! Come on, dude. Come on.
You'd be
Come on,
wasting
dude.
money. Just make him an assistant coach.
Stop.
He has no room to provide any
Stop.
input outside of being a position coach. There's no
Who does it
reason
fall on when they lose?
it falls on Andy Reid.
Andy Reid, because he's the offensive genius. That's
Who
what
does
they
it fall
talk
on?
about.
What head coach doesn't a loss fall on?
That's not the point. What I'm saying is,
What are we talking about?
The point is that he's the offensive genius, and when the offense doesn't perform, for the most part, you guys lose. So when it's like, hey, the offense didn't do well today, Andy Reid, what the fuck happens? Andy Reid's gonna be like, well, I didn't call a very good game.
The same exact point that I was just making with Eric Bieniemy. When it was a bad game, everybody blamed Eric Bieniemy, and when it was a good game, you praised Andy Reid. This is the same thing that you're giving me here.
Then that's fucking horseshit. That's shitty hypocrisy. Blame the same guy. How does it not Andy Reid's genius, and then it becomes Andy Reid's genius? It's bullshit.